Okay, today I'm going to show you how to get set up with the OpenKO source project. The first thing you want to do is there's a few things you'll need to download. So first we will want SQL Server. So let's head over to Google, and if you're familiar with SQL Server, you can probably figure this out on your own. But if you do SQL Server Express, and you want, for this tutorial, we'll be using 2008 R2, and to get here, you'll just click on this first one. Should take you to the Microsoft website, and here you'll be able to download it. You want to be very careful which one you pick here. You want either this one or this one. So both of these, you have the SQL, you have Express, and then you have this part at the end, WT, that stands for with tools. This is basically the Studio Manager that we'll be using in order to back up the database, or restore the database, sorry. So here you can either get the x86 if you have a 32-bit operating system, or you can go with the x64 if you're 64-bit. Okay, so once you've downloaded that, you should have this installer. I just have it on my desktop. Okay, the next thing you'll want to download, so over to Google, you'll want Visual Studio Community. So this is the version of Visual Studio that we'll be using for this tutorial. It's free, and you don't have to pay for it at all. And you can compile most things except for the user interface editor currently. It's the only thing that you can't compile. But so go ahead and get that. Once you've downloaded that, you should have this setup executable here that I have on the desktop. Next thing you'll want to do, and there's a chance that your computer may already have this, but you want the DirectX Runtime, or sorry, DirectX End User Runtime Web Installer. So go ahead and click that. Here you can just download this, and you'll get the executable on your desktop. So unclick that. You don't need any of the default search engine stuff, and then you should be able to get this setup executable. Okay, so that's everything software wise. Now you just need the source code, the data, and the development database. So in order to get that stuff, go over to codingbackwards.in. Okay, and then scroll to the bottom. In order to get the source code, you'll want to click on the OpenKO project repo. And I believe for this, you may have to sign up for an account. Once you come here, there won't be the button here because I haven't upgraded this Windows Explorer. This is actually a fresh install of Windows 7 just for this tutorial, but there will be a clone/download button. You click that, and then you click download the zip, and you'll get this Night Online -master. And then go ahead and unzip that, and then in that folder you should have all the source code that we'll be using. Okay, once you have that, you'll want to come back here, go to General. You'll want to visit each of these topics to download the database. Just click View File, download this file. That'll give you the database backup file so that we'll be able to restore. Go to the data files, View File, and then you'll be able to get the data files. These data files are sort of a mixture of 1068 to 1298, 1299, and the database is actually a stock 1298, 1299 database with an added table just for the NPC questing. So talk a little bit about the code when we get there, but just as a heads up, this code uses the Lua scripting for the NPC questing, not the EBTs. However, there is a converter with the code that converts EBTs to Lua scripts, so you don't have to worry about that too much. Okay, so at this point you should have everything downloaded. What you'll want to do now is go ahead and install SQL Server Express. The default options are fine. I did all the default options and everything's working for this tutorial. So go ahead and set that up. For Visual Studio, it's a little different. Once you start the installer, instead of, let's see if it'll let me do it. I've already installed Visual Studio, but let's see if I can show you here. Instead of like setting up with the default options, you'll actually want to go to Customize. You'll want to unselect the web stuff that it gives you by default, and you'll want to select the Visual C++. So, okay. I don't know if this is going to pop up, but we'll just leave that. And while these things are being installed, you can go ahead and install the DirectX in-user runtime. This will allow you to actually render, it'll give you the libraries necessary to render DirectX programs. Okay, as I said before, go ahead and unzip the zip files, and then you should have these two files. At this point, what you'll want to do is open the Night Online master and go ahead and drag the data folder into that folder, just like that. And we'll leave that for now. Let's see if I know what that's doing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is restore the database. So open SQL Server Studio Management Studio. Cancel that. Okay, connect to the database. Okay, while that's connecting, I'm going to run to the desktop, open up, this is the Night Online master folder. This notes, go ahead and open that with whatever text editor you have. Okay, copy this line. Now this will work if you have the 64-bit operating system. If it's 32-bit, then you no need to add the extra directories before the executable. Okay, go ahead and open that. And we'll put this to the side. Now what we're going to do is create a database. So go ahead and right-click on databases, go to New Database. Okay, this is running in a virtual machine, so it's slower than I would like. Okay, well, that's going on. What we can do is we can go ahead and open the source code with Visual Studio. And this will be good because it should load all the projects and you shouldn't have any missing features. So it looks like we're able to create a database now. So we'll go ahead and name it kn_online and just click OK there. So as I was mentioning, the server-side source code is actually a 15xx version of 2Star's Snox project, and the client source code is the original 1068. The window creation and user input has been changed to SDL 2.0. SDL stands for the Simple Direct Media Layer, and to learn more about that, you can go to libsdl.com, I think, maybe .org. But anyway, so we have our database now. So let's right-click on that. Let's go to Tasks, Restore Database. Okay, we want to restore from device. We'll click these three dots. We want to add a backup location. Just close this for the time being. Try to save up some resources. Okay, let's see if I can find the location for the SQL Server backups. Here we go. Okay, so find your folder where the backup is, and on the desktop or wherever you saved it, there should be the kn__dev back. So let's just go ahead and drag that to the backup folder. Okay. All right, and let's select that file, hit OK. And now we have a backup location for the database. We'll hit OK. Here you'll want to tick Restore, go to Options. Okay, while that's going on, over here, if you open this, go to the System, DSN, click Add, scroll down to the bottom, and select the SQL Server Native Client 10.0. Click Finish. Okay, the name for this we'll want is kn_online. And the server we want to connect with, you can do /SQL Express or whatever you named your instance when you installed it, and hit next. Okay, coming back here to the database restore, we'll want to tick this overwrite the existing database with replace. Click OK. So that's executing. Back over here, we'll leave it with integrated Windows authentication. Just hit next. Okay, we want to change the default database to kn_online. Hit next, and we will untick the perform translation for character data and hit finish. Let's go ahead and test the data source. Okay, that worked. And looks like our database successfully restored. So hit OK, hit OK. We can go ahead and close this. Okay, so now what we'll want to do is open up the folder with the source code. And let's go ahead and open it with Visual Studio 2015. At this point, you should be pretty much ready to compile everything. Okay, so as you can imagine, this virtual machine runs very slow, so I went ahead and compiled the code beforehand. So let's go ahead and start it. For you, there will likely be a long compile process, but this should just boot right up. And you only have to click the start because the way the project, the way the solution is set up, the project dependencies work out so that it will compile everything that you need. And if you get something like this that says the application is in break mode, just click continue execution. Also, while it's compiling, you'll likely get a ton of warnings, and you can safely ignore those. Okay. Okay, let me come here, do it this way. For some reason, that's starting and going into full screen mode when I don't want it to. There we go. Okay, so at this point, you should successfully have loaded all the tables from the database. Okay, it looks like the AI server had trouble connecting. Let's try this again. There we go. Now we have the AI server, the login server, and the game server. They're loading up their tables slowly but surely. So there are a number of different logins. Like I said before, the database is actually the stock 1298, 1299, so you can log in with the classical 2 stars test. That account is still there and has the main character here has GM privileges. So I'll exit out of that. You can also use test followed by a number, where it could be test 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 10 for username and password. And then you can also use bit shift with password test, and you get an Orc Ranger character. So let me go ahead and log in. So there has been a lot of work on this project over the past, I'd say, year and a half, and I'm hoping to sort of create some interest if people want to start helping out with the project or contribute some code. It'd be greatly appreciated. I do plan to make more kind of tutorials and explanations with the code in the future. And now that it's open source and everyone can get their hands on it, it should be a lot easier to kind of join in and know exactly what I'm kind of talking about. Okay, thanks.